everybody, welcome back to Out of Body. My name is Sabrina, and today I'm going to be talking about the first time I attempted astral projection. If you'd like to hear more about that, keep watching. So to start off, I want to talk about how I first heard about astral projection. I actually first heard about it through a video made by Haley Reese. If you don't know who she is, I will link her channel down below and that video as well, so you can check her out. She did a video on lucid dreaming. That's actually the first video I saw, and in that video she also mentions astral projection and what it is. And so after watching that video, I found that she also did a video solely on astral projection. So I watched that video and I just kind of went crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I have had an experience during sleep where I felt like I left my body, but I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was a dream or something, but something still told me like this was more than just a dream. And so her video confirmed that for me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is really a thing. Like, this is a thing where people can leave their bodies during sleep. Like, I had no idea. I'd never heard of that before. I figured if I had told somebody that I thought I left my body while I was asleep, that they would have thought I was crazy. So, but that is definitely, well, I might be crazy, but not because of this. So after watching her video, I went ahead and made a comment on there because I was so excited, and I said, you know, hey, I've never heard of this before. I'm so excited. I'm actually going to try this tonight. You know, and so after watching the video and making that comment, I went and did my own research. And I tried to research different methods of doing astral projection and how to achieve it on your first time. And that night I actually did try it. Now, the first time I attempted it, I didn't successfully leave my body. I tried that night before I went to sleep, but you know, of course I was a beginner and I wasn't sure what I was doing. So I didn't actually leave my body, but I did go to sleep, and I woke up later on that night and I felt like I could try it. So I tried again. I tried to just, you know, lay there and relax and just think about one of the methods that I read about, which was visualizing a rope. It's called the rope method. Visualizing a rope hanging down above your head and just, you know, grabbing onto that with your astral body and pulling yourself out of your body. So I tried that at that point and I chickened out. I was intending on trying it, and then I chickened out, so then I just went to sleep. And then later on that morning, like early morning hours, I woke up again and I thought, okay, I'm determined to try this. I just want to know, is this real? You know, is this really a thing I could do? So I tried it again and I actually did it. I had been in a really deep sleep, and then I woke up. And then I just kept my body very still, and I kept my mind awake, and I closed my eyes, and I visualized the rope above me, and I could actually see it. It was almost like lit up in front of me. And so then I, you know, mentally visualized myself, my astral body, grabbing hold of it and pulling. And at that point, I literally did pull myself out of my body. I felt the vibrations at that point, and I pulled myself out of my body, and there I was, just kind of sitting or hovering right there at the edge of my bed. And I was just like crazy at that point. I was just like, whoa, is this real? Did this really happen? And then, because this is my first astral projection attempt, I wasn't thinking that, you know, I don't have to walk anywhere. I don't have to actually get up and do anything, but I'm in my astral body, and I actually try to, like, you know, push myself off the bed, and I try to stand, and I kind of like stumble because, you know, because I actually don't have to stand. I could just float, but I was trying to stand, so I was like stumbling and all this stuff. And I actually at that point looked down at my astral body, and I could see what it looks like, which I've done that before, not before this experience, but I've talked about this before in a previous video where I looked down at my body and saw kind of a yellow outline. Well, in this first astral projection experience, my astral body looked the same, but it was a little bit more of an orangey yellow, which I know I've heard from other people that there's different meanings for the different colors of people's astral bodies or souls. I'll have to do more research on that and maybe talk about that on this channel. But yeah, in this experience, it looked kind of like a yellowy orange, and it was a bright color. and it was like someone had highlighted the outline of my body. You know, it was just like this humanoid shape, and then the inside was translucent, but it was still that kind of orangey yellow color. So then at that point, I'm just kind of stumbling, and I'm just like, okay, this is cool. And I look over to my right. So before I talk about what I saw in the corner of my room, I want to preface it by explaining that for a lot of years now, I've been able to intuitively sense and communicate with my guardian angel or spirit guide, whatever you want to call it. But I can communicate with him. I have been for quite a while now, for about 6 years, I guess. And that's a story for another video as to how that happened, but it happened. I know him, I can sense him, I know he's always with me, I even know his name and things like that. I know a lot about him because I've developed this clairaudience, which I talked about in my psychics video, where I can intuitively, in my mind, I can communicate with spirits and entities. So I've been communicating with him for quite a while now. So back to the story, I look over to the corner of my room and I see my spirit guide. I see him there. And I know it's him, not because of how he looks necessarily, although he did look similar to the way I imagine him to look in human form. But the reason why I knew it was him is because when I kind of felt his presence, and when I looked over there, I just knew it was him. It was like that all-knowing. I just knew, my spirit just knew who he was. And so I run towards him and I embrace him, and he embraces me, and it's a really neat experience. That's like the best part of it, was that right there. And so this is the part where it gets a little weird, I guess, maybe for some of you. For me, it was completely normal. And I understand if there's some of you who this is like way too out there for you and you don't really believe it's real. That's okay. Just take this experience or this story as entertainment. I mean, that's okay. I'm not sitting here saying you have to believe everything I talk about on here. I personally believe it because it happened to me, but I'm not requiring anyone else to. So next he takes my hand in his, and we start walking towards my bedroom window, which is right next to my bed. And at that point I could tell that it's daylight outside. So it must have been, I guess it must have been at some point in the early morning, like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So then we walk up to the window and he looks at me. And at that point he looks a little bit different. He's a little bit more like shining and bright. Whereas before, when he was in the corner of my room, he was a little bit darker, like not dark like a dark entity, but like he wasn't bright and light. He looked just like a regular human being just standing there, and he was actually wearing like a black trench coat, I think he was just kind of standing there off to the side because he didn't want to scare me. If he had shown himself in all his glory, I think I would have been frightened. So, but once I knew who he was and he knew that I wasn't scared, when we got closer to the window, then he looked a lot different. He was a lot brighter. He still looked like a human, but he was very, very bright and kind of iridescent like I was. So then at that point, and this is where it gets maybe weird or whatever for some people, but I'm just gonna say what he told me. I mean, I'm not gonna leave anything out. He actually said, "Hey, how about going to Europe? Or do you want to go to Europe?" or something like that. And I was like, "Sure." And so then we literally walked through the window. I was still not used to being out of my body, so I was like walking, you know, and he walked with me. We walked through the window into the outdoors, and then at that point, I kind of, not blackout, because there was a lot of light at that point, but I don't really remember much after that until we get to Europe or wherever it was. I don't know if that's really where we went. When you're astral projecting, you can visit other places on Earth. I mean, you're not just in the astral realms. You can go to those astral realms, but you can also remain on Earth and kind of travel around. I've had other experiences where I did that. So next thing I know, we are in some sort of city that does seem foreign to me. It seems a little bit different than any city I've ever been to, which I've been to a lot of cities. I've actually been to Europe before. I've been to Germany, I've been to Austria, and I've been to Poland, and I've been through Slovakia and the Czech Republic. But this city that we were in was a little bit different, so I don't know if it was like in England or Italy. I have no idea. All I know is that when we get there, we're just kind of walking, and I do say walking because, you know, I wasn't realizing that I could float around or anything, and he was just kind of guiding me, so he was letting me walk, and we were walking to kind of keep it normal for me, I think. And so we were walking around the city, and it looked like there was some kind of event going on. Like, we were outside, and there was, I don't know if it was cobblestone or if it was just like paved streets, and we were just kind of walking around, and there was these other people walking and walking, and I remember going up to some of the people and trying to say hello, because I was like so ecstatic that I was having this experience, and I thought, ooh, I'm gonna try to talk to people, and not realizing, hey, they probably can't see you. So I was like, I remember specifically this one gentleman that I went up to, and I was like, hi, hey, you know, and I was trying to talk to him, and I was like spinning around him for however long, and he was just kept on walking, kept staring straight ahead. He wasn't paying any bit of attention to me. And I remember being like, that's weird, you know, why isn't he responding to me? And it wasn't until I woke up later that I was like, duh. I was like in spirit form, so he probably had no idea I was even there. So at that point, I kind of knew what it was like to be a ghost and to be trying to communicate with someone and not getting anywhere. So after that, I remember him, my spirit guide, then taking me to when I remember back, it seems like some sort of like carriage ride, you know, like a horse and carriage thing. I don't know what it really was. I've learned now that in our astral projection experiences, when we wake up and come back to our bodies, we remember things a little bit differently than it actually happened, because our brain has to translate our memories into something that we recognize. So yeah, I remember us riding this some sort of carriage type ride. I don't know if that's really what we did, but we were having a ball, doing something, and no one else could see us. Then I remember going to some sort of festival. I think it was like an art festival. I remember seeing works of art, but my memory is kind of spotty. Like, I don't remember going to certain places. I just remember all of a sudden being there, but my spirit guide was guiding me the entire time. But yeah, my memory is a little bit spotty, so I don't remember a lot about this experience, but I do remember being at that art festival. I all of a sudden felt like kind of panic, like, oh, how long have I been out of my body? Do I need to go back? Like, I felt like I needed to go back, or I was just kind of scared to stay out that long, and I wanted to go back. And so I went to my spirit guide and I said, I want to go back now. Like, I feel like I should go back. It's been a while. And he said, okay, sure, we'll go back. So at that point, I do remember a little bit about traveling back. And I felt him with me, but I couldn't see him anymore. And then I do remember clearly coming back to the outside of my apartment, outside of my bedroom window, and walking back through the window. I do remember walking back through the window, being back in my room, and then I remember seeing my physical body in bed still, sleeping. So at that point, again, I wasn't realizing that I could just float up or just snap back to my body. I actually climbed back into the bed and tried to like lay down flat and kind of meld with my body, and it worked. I mean, I did, you know, lay on top of my body and then kind of meld inside of it. And then the next thing I know, I kind of move, I roll over. I don't open my eyes. I keep my eyes shut, but I can feel my physical body. I think I roll over, and then I immediately start to have lucid dreams after that. And one thing I forgot to mention before, when I first got out of my body and I was stumbling and I was standing next to my bed, before I looked into the corner of my room and saw my spirit guide, I actually looked at the bed and I saw my physical body asleep. So at that point, that's when I knew, oh my gosh, I really have left my body. Because at first I thought, did I physically get up? Like, I'm not understanding what's happening here. But I look back at the bed and I see my physical body. And that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, I did it. And then I look to the corner of my room and I see my spirit guide. So it's pretty common for me when I get back from an astral projection experience to then have lots of lucid dreams. That's pretty common for me. So yeah, that was my first experience. I didn't really tell anybody about that for a long time. And I don't even think I've still really told anybody the details about this particular experience. I did eventually tell my family about how I felt like I had left my body during sleep before, and they all know about it and everything. So I think I remember, and I'll have to find it, but after I had that experience and I woke up for the day, I actually went back to Haley's video and I commented on my comment, like I replied to my own comment, and I said, oh my gosh, I tried this last night, it really worked, and all this stuff. And I actually said on there, I think that I was, because of this experience, like it's moved me to want to start a YouTube channel and all that. And in reality, I didn't start that till much later, but it's pretty cool that this is really what got me excited, and this is what triggered a lot of other things that have happened since, as far as, you know, me learning about my psychic abilities and learning about even other religions and kind of opening my mind and kind of going through what some people call a spiritual awakening as well, which that I will talk about in another video too. So this experience literally triggered everything that's led up to now for me. So that is the end of this video. That is the end of my story. If you guys have any thoughts on this, I would love to hear it down below. Just drop a comment. So stay tuned for next week. I'm actually going to start kind of a new series on my channel. I'm going to start talking about various paranormal experiences I've had. I was planning on uploading those things to IGTV on Instagram, but I don't know about you guys, but I've tried to kind of apply that platform to my life and to try to watch stuff on IGTV, but it's no shade on them at all. I think it's probably a great platform, but it's just not for me, because I don't enjoy watching the vertical video or anything like that, and I don't know, it's kind of limited. It doesn't have quite as much of the customization you can do on YouTube as far as your thumbnails and like your descriptions and tags, and there's not really a way to become discovered on Instagram as far as I know. So anyway, I'm just gonna put it on YouTube instead. And on Instagram, if you want to follow me on there, I'll still post like photos and different things that I'm up to, but I'm not gonna really be posting like content like videos on there. So stay tuned for next week if you're interested in hearing about some of my paranormal experiences. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.